Imagine waking up to discover that a crucial government policy, a policy that could affect millions of American children, is built on fabrications, broken links, and research that simply doesn't exist. Now imagine that the source of these mistakes isn't a human, but artificial intelligence. This isn't a futuristic thought experiment. It's happening right now, at the highest levels of government power. The recent firestorm surrounding the White House's Make America Healthy Again report has sent shockwaves through both political and scientific circles. Why? Because evidence shows that the report, intended to chart America's future health policy, was riddled with AI-generated errors, fake citations, and references to research that no one can find. Welcome to a new era, where algorithms and generative AI models are drafting the very documents that shape our world. But as the dust settles, one terrifying question echoes. How can we trust government decisions when we can't even verify the facts behind them? In the next 15 minutes, we'll peel back the layers of this digital controversy. We'll examine how AI infiltrated the heart of government, what it means for democracy and transparency, and how the global rush towards artificial intelligence could be rewriting the rules, sometimes literally. But first, let's dive into the remarkable rise of AI in policymaking and how we arrived at a point where machines may be making or breaking public trust. For years, the promise of AI in government was irresistible. Faster, cheaper, more objective. These were the selling points pitched to agencies under mounting pressure to do more with less. The adoption curve was steep. Federal bodies, from health agencies to economic think tanks, started leveraging AI tools to comb through mountains of data, generate reports, and even model the outcomes of potential policy decisions. On paper, the idea made perfect sense. AI could process information at superhuman scales, identify trends invisible to human eyes, and spot anomalies before they spiral into crises. According to a Pew Research survey, as of early 2025, more than 60% of Americans agreed that AI could help governments work better if it's used responsibly. But as the technology spread, so did warnings from experts. Dr. Meredith Whitaker, an AI ethicist at NYU, put it bluntly: we need mandatory human oversight of AI-generated content in government to prevent the spread of misinformation. She wasn't alone. Concerns about transparency, accountability, and bias began to surface as agencies rushed to implement tools they barely understood. Against this backdrop, the White House Make America Healthy Again report was released. Its goal was ambitious: reshape the nation's approach to childhood health. Recommendations included limiting unnecessary medications for kids, slashing exposure to synthetic chemicals, improving diets, and boosting physical activity. All sound strategies. But to back these bold ideas, the report needed strong scientific evidence. Almost immediately, sharp-eyed researchers and journalists noticed something strange. Citations in the document pointed to studies that didn't exist. Some links were broken or led nowhere. Others carried odd URL tags like OASite, an internal marker used by OpenAI models, suggesting the content was, at least in part, generated by a machine. One researcher who'd supposedly authored a cited study told reporters, "I've never written that paper. I have no idea how my name got attached to this." Another citation described a behavioral study on children, but the actual research was done on college students. The errors weren't mere typos, they were fabrications. The fallout was immediate. The administration scrambled. Health and Human Services spokesperson Emily Hilliard admitted to minor citation and formatting errors. Non-existent references were quickly scrubbed from the official version. But the damage was done. For the second time in just months, a federal document was caught echoing the quirks and mistakes of generative AI. Back in April, another controversy exploded when an economist accused the administration of relying on AI to justify tariffs, again with suspect data modeling at its core. It's not just the U.S. wrestling with these challenges. The European Union is considering sanctions against providers whose AI tools enable the spread of incorrect government reports. The National Academy of Sciences is forming a new committee to probe the ethical implications of AI in policymaking. UNESCO is calling for global AI literacy programs for public servants. The world is watching, and the stakes are rising fast. But why are AI-generated errors such a big deal? Simply put, government reports are not idle paperwork. They are the bedrock on which public policy is built. When those foundations are shaky, decisions, from healthcare funding to national security, can crumble. The risks reach well beyond embarrassment. Dr. Kate Crawford, an AI researcher at USC, warned, "The long-term consequences of unchecked AI in government reports include erosion of public trust, manipulation of policy decisions, and increased social division. When a government misinforms, intentionally or not, the entire fabric of society is at risk. The reaction on Capitol Hill was swift. A bipartisan group of senators introduced the AI and Government Transparency Act, which would force agencies to disclose exactly when and how AI is used in federal documents. At the same time, the Government Accountability Office launched an audit of AI systems deployed in federal agencies. According to a recent Pew survey, 75% of Americans now worry about the accuracy of government reports generated by AI. The White House, facing a wave of criticism, has initiated an internal review of its AI policies. HHS Secretary Kennedy Jr. even recused himself from further AI decisions until the investigation concludes. Meanwhile, the Department of Justice is quietly investigating the legal liabilities that come with publishing inaccurate information in official reports. What's driving this crisis isn't just a technical failing, it's a knowledge gap. As Dr. Fei-Fei Li from Stanford points out, AI models are only as good as the data they are trained on. Government agencies must invest in high-quality, unbiased data to ensure the accuracy of AI-generated reports. But in practice, agencies often rely on hodgepodge datasets that carry hidden biases or are simply incomplete. The consequences? AI models spit out plausible-looking but utterly fake citations, fabricated studies, out-of-context research, and because these documents look authoritative, their flaws can go unnoticed by all but the most vigilant readers. The ethical questions are huge. Professor Andrew Selbst, a legal scholar at UCLA, asks, who is liable when AI-generated government content turns out to be wrong? We need clear legal standards to hold agencies accountable, and bias is a ticking time bomb. AI systems trained on flawed historical data risk perpetuating or amplifying inequalities. Dr. Joy Buolamwini of MIT, a pioneer in AI bias research, cautions, government agencies must prioritize fairness and equity in AI systems to avoid harming vulnerable populations. In an emotional post on social media, one parent of a child with asthma wrote, "How can I trust government recommendations on my daughter's medication when their research might be fake?" The heartbreak is real, and the consequences are personal. The Maha report is now under global scrutiny. Leading tech companies like Microsoft and OpenAI have rushed to promise more responsible AI tools and offer governments help in verifying content. But with the genie out of the bottle, a key question remains. Can regulation ever keep pace with technology? As the world debates new laws, ethics boards, and oversight committees, another risk becomes clear. If AI-generated misinformation keeps slipping through, public trust in the very institutions meant to protect us could collapse. According to Dr. Kate Crawford, unchecked AI could manipulate policy decisions, polarize society, and undermine democracy itself. Some governments may respond by over-regulating, stifling innovation, and slowing progress. Others might double down on AI adoption, hoping that more tech is the answer to tech's problems. But at the center of this storm is a fundamental dilemma. Should we welcome AI in government as a tool for transparency and efficiency, or treat it as a potential threat to democracy and truth? As the dust from the Maha report settles and policymakers scramble to regain control, one critical question remains unanswered. If even the White House can be caught out by AI-generated fakes, what other crucial decisions might be based on shaky digital ground? Is this just the beginning of a larger crisis, in which governments, blinded by technology's promise, lose sight of the very people they were meant to serve? As the dust settles around the White House's Make America Healthy Again report, a new chapter is unfolding, one that reaches far beyond the corridors of power in Washington. The fallout has launched waves of debate, reform, and even global tension, all centered on a single, urgent question. What happens when the heart of democratic decision-making is touched by AI error, and what comes next? The future is clouded with both promise and peril. In the immediate aftermath, the White House swiftly initiated an internal review of its AI usage policies, seeking to reassure the public that lessons would be learned and safeguards installed. But as Dr. Meredith Whittaker, a leading AI ethicist at NYU, bluntly put it, the Maha report is a wake-up call. We need mandatory human oversight of AI-generated content in government to prevent the spread of misinformation. Suddenly, other government agencies are forced to reckon with the reality that the systems they trusted may not be as reliable or impartial as hoped. Take the FDA and NIH, quick to announce a partnership to develop standardized protocols for validating AI-generated content. Their aim? To ensure that future health policies are built on facts, not fabrications. Meanwhile, lawmakers demand action. A bipartisan group of senators has introduced the AI in Government Transparency Act, which would require every federal agency to clearly disclose when reports or recommendations are shaped by AI. Senator Ron Wyden's words resonate. AI is a powerful tool, but it must be used responsibly. Our act will ensure that the public knows when AI is being used to inform policy decisions. Yet not everyone is convinced that regulation alone will restore what's been lost. The Government Accountability Office is already knee-deep in auditing federal AI systems, combing for bias or inaccuracy. And in a move that underscores the gravity of the situation, HHS Secretary Kennedy Jr. has recused himself from all future AI policy decisions pending the outcome of the White House review. Internationally, the crisis is igniting a global conversation. The European Union is even considering sanctions against companies whose AI tools contribute to inaccurate government reports, warning that the stakes are simply too high for the world to ignore. But what if these efforts fall short? Imagine a future where government-issued data and recommendations are always met with skepticism, where public trust dips so low that civic engagement withers. The erosion of trust could become a national security risk, as foreign actors seize the opportunity to manipulate or undermine policy through misinformation. As Professor Andrew Selbst from UCLA warns, the Maha report raises serious questions about legal liability for inaccurate AI-generated content. We need clear legal standards to hold government agencies accountable. There's also the risk of policy being shaped not by robust debate, but by the output of flawed algorithms. Unchecked, AI could become a tool for policy manipulation, intentionally or unintentionally tilting decisions that impact the health, welfare, and freedoms of millions. Dr. Kate Crawford cautions, the long-term consequences of unchecked AI in government reports include erosion of public trust, manipulation of policy decisions, and increased social division. But there's another, brighter path, and it hinges on adaptation, vigilance, and a renewed commitment to transparency. In response to the controversy, the National Academy of Sciences is assembling a committee to probe the ethical implications of AI in policymaking. OpenAI, the very company whose technology may have played a role in the Maha report, has stepped forward, offering to help governments verify AI-generated content and emphasizing its commitment to responsible use. This landscape of challenge and opportunity is moving fast. According to a Pew Research survey, a staggering 75% of Americans now say they're concerned about the accuracy of AI-generated government reports. That's not just a number, it's a signal, a warning shot across the bow of public institutions. People want and deserve to know that the decisions guiding their lives are rooted in truth. So what practical lessons emerge from this AI reckoning? For one, the demand for greater transparency is here to stay. Citizens and watchdog groups are pushing for every government document to declare, clearly, whether AI played a part in its creation. This is more than symbolic. It arms the public with crucial context, allowing them to question, verify, and demand accountability when facts don't add up. Next, the need for robust human oversight is sharper than ever. Even the most sophisticated AI model is only as trustworthy as the checks and balances around it. Governments are now mapping out validation pipelines. Every AI-generated paragraph must pass through human experts, and every reference must be double-checked for authenticity and context. Education is another powerful tool. UNESCO's call to action rings out. Government employees must be trained not just to use AI, but to critique it, understanding its limitations, recognizing bias, and spotting the subtle fingerprints of automation. But it doesn't stop there. AI literacy for the general public is now seen as a pillar of democratic strength. Imagine newsrooms, classrooms, and communities all equipped to interrogate official claims, no longer blindly trusting the badge of authority. Meanwhile, technology companies are being asked to do more, to detect and flag AI-generated errors, and to ensure their models are trained on high-quality, unbiased, and up-to-date data. As Dr. Fei Li, a respected voice in AI, reminds us, AI models are only as good as the data they are trained on. Government agencies must invest in high-quality, unbiased data to ensure the accuracy of AI-generated reports. But the transformation goes even deeper. New standards are being drafted for AI use in sensitive domains, like health and public safety. These don't just cover accuracy, they address fairness and equity, ensuring that AI doesn't worsen social inequalities or leave vulnerable populations exposed to the fallout of bad data. MIT's Dr. Joy Buolamwini explains, AI bias can perpetuate and amplify existing inequalities. Government agencies must prioritize fairness and equity in AI systems to avoid harming vulnerable populations. And what can you, the viewer, actually do about all this? First, foster a healthy skepticism. When you encounter a government report, look for transparency, not just about the conclusions, but about how those conclusions were reached. If AI was involved, be prepared to question, what data did it use? Who checked the work? Are all citations valid and verifiable? Second, support advocates and organizations pushing for open AI standards and responsible governance. Demand that your elected officials back measures like the AI in Government Transparency Act. These policies aren't just technical, they're essential for the health of democracy itself. And third, invest in your own digital literacy. Learn to spot the hallmarks of AI-generated content, from too slick language to citations that don't quite add up. Share your knowledge with your community. In a world awash with information, critical thinking is your shield. This brings us to a difficult, necessary truth. No technological fix alone will rescue public trust. It's a process, a relentless commitment to oversight, transparency, dialogue, and the ethical use of AI. The Maha report scandal is not just a cautionary tale. It's a call to build new, stronger safeguards, to demand better, and to never accept easy answers when the stakes are high. So, can society build the necessary safeguards and restore trust in government reports? The answer is yes, but only if we act. This crisis has forced open a vital conversation. We now see that the integrity of policy cannot be delegated to machines, no matter how advanced. It lives and dies with human judgment, accountability, and the courage to question. In fact, here's a secret fact. Although the Maha report has drawn the world's eyes, it's just the tip of the iceberg. An internal memo leaked after the controversy revealed that more than a dozen federal agencies have quietly used AI to draft reports on topics ranging from climate change to national security. Many of these documents are now undergoing review, and the coming months could see even more revelations. The time to demand transparency and set high standards is right now, before another critical decision is blurred by AI's invisible hand. Let this moment spark a movement. Share this video with friends, colleagues, and anyone who cares about democracy. Subscribe and turn on notifications to follow our deep dives into the intersection of technology, policy, and public trust. Tell us in the comments, do you trust government reports shaped by AI? What safeguards would you want to see? Your voice matters in building a future where technology serves, not betrays.